A letter was written with your name on it. Years ago, by your soulmate. They never delivered it, but my beloved child. Before you were aware of time, before you understood love, before you even knew how deeply your soul could feel, a letter was written with your name on it. It was not written with ink alone, but with trembling hope, quiet prayers, and tears that fell onto the page like silent promises. Years ago, your soulmate held that letter close to their heart. They never delivered it. Not because they didn't care, but because life, fear, and timing stood between truth and courage. Yet hear me now, my beloved child, because nothing written in love is ever truly lost. I saw the moment that letter was born. I saw the hesitation in their hands, the way they paused before every sentence, wondering if you would understand, wondering if you would stay. They wrote about the first time they felt you, even before they met you. Yes, my child, some souls recognize each other before eyes ever meet. They wrote about dreams where your face was unclear but your presence felt like home. They wrote about the way their hearts softened when your name crossed their thoughts, even though they didn't yet know why it mattered so much. My beloved child, that letter was written in a season when both of you were still learning who you were. You were growing through confusion, disappointment, and quiet strength. They were growing through fear of rejection, fear of being seen, fear of losing something they had not yet held. So the letter was folded carefully and hidden away, not because love faded, but because love felt too sacred to risk at the wrong time. Do not think that silence means absence. Do not think that distance means disinterest. I watched them revisit that letter again and again. Sometimes they unfolded it late at night, reading the words they once dared to write. Sometimes they couldn't even open it, because every line reminded them of you and of the courage they still had not found. They wondered if you were happy. They wondered if you were safe. They wondered if you had already given your heart to someone else. My beloved child, you were never forgotten. Even when life pulled them in another direction, even when responsibilities grew heavy, even when they tried to convince themselves to move on, that letter remained. It lived in a drawer, in a bag, in the back of their mind. And more than that, it lived in their soul. Every time they felt an unexplainable ache, every time a song reminded them of something they could not name, every time they felt love but could not place its source, it was that letter speaking without words. You, too, felt echoes of this connection. You may not have known why certain nights felt heavier. You may not have understood why you longed for something undefined, why your heart felt full and empty at the same time. My beloved child, that was not weakness. That was recognition. That was your soul remembering a promise made before circumstances interfered. The letter spoke of patience. It said, if you are not ready now, I will wait. It spoke of admiration, not possession. It said, I love who you are becoming, even from afar. It spoke of fear, honestly and humbly. It said, I am scared I will not be enough, but I want to try. These words were never meant to pressure you. They were meant to honor you. Years passed. You changed. They changed. Life tested both of you in ways you did not expect. You learned resilience. They learned humility. You learned how to stand alone. They learned the cost of staying silent. And still, my beloved child, that letter waited. Because some messages are not bound by time. Some truths ripen slowly, like fruit that must reach its sweetness before it can be shared. Now hear this carefully, my beloved child. The reason this message is stirring within you now is because the season is shifting. What was once hidden is being brought into the light. What was once delayed is aligning. That letter may never reach you in paper form, but its essence is finding you now. Through thoughts that arrive uninvited. Through emotions that surface without warning. Through a sense that something unfinished is calling your name. Do not rush this awakening. Do not fear it. Allow yourself to feel without judgment. Love that is true does not demand immediate answers. It asks only for honesty and openness. You are not being asked to return to the past. You are being invited to understand it, to heal it, and to see how it shaped you into who you are today. My beloved child, the letter ends with a sentence they never knew how to deliver. It says, "If one day our paths cross again, I hope you will see that my silence was never a lack of love, only a lack of courage. That courage is growing now. Yours and theirs. And when courage meets timing, truth no longer hides. Trust what you are feeling. Trust the gentle pull in your heart. Nothing written in love is ever wasted. Nothing delayed by fear is ever beyond redemption. This is only the beginning of the message. The rest will unfold, slowly and safely, as your heart is ready to receive it, my beloved child. As the echo of that unsent letter settles deeper into your heart, something within you begins to shift. You may not fully understand it yet, but you feel it. A quiet awareness. A soft stirring. Almost like remembering something you were never consciously told. That is because the soul remembers what the mind forgets. And now, the next part of this story is unfolding, not on paper, but within time itself. The letter was never just words. It was a vow whispered into the unseen. When your soulmate wrote it, they unknowingly planted a seed into destiny. They believed they were writing privately, safely, with no consequences. But my beloved child, every sincere emotion sends ripples through the universe. Every honest feeling is recorded beyond ink and page. That letter became a silent agreement between souls. An agreement that said, if we cannot meet now, we will meet when we are ready. Years after it was written, life began rearranging itself around both of you. Missed opportunities were actually protection. Closed doors were not rejection, they were redirection. You wondered why certain connections never lasted, why some relationships felt close but never complete. You tried to convince yourself that maybe love was meant to be practical, manageable, less intense. But deep down, you knew something was missing. Not someone perfect, someone familiar. Your soulmate felt it too. Even when they smiled in public, even when they appeared to move forward, there was a quiet comparison they could not escape. No one else resonated the same way. No conversation felt as effortless. No presence felt as grounding. They began to realize that the letter they hid away was not a memory, it was a compass. And every time they strayed from their true path, that unseen compass pulled them back toward you. My beloved child, there were moments when they almost reached out. Moments when they typed your name and erased it. Moments when they saw a sign, a number, a song, and thought of you instantly. Fear stopped them, yes, but fear born from reverence, not indifference. They did not want to disrupt your peace. They did not want to arrive incomplete. They wanted to come to you whole, healed, and honest. Meanwhile, you were being prepared too. Through disappointments that taught discernment. Through solitude that taught self-worth. Through waiting that taught patience. You learned not to chase love, not to beg for attention, not to settle for half-truths. My beloved child, this was not accidental. If that letter had been delivered years ago, it would have found a version of you that was still becoming. Now, it finds a soul that understands its own value. The letter said something else that was never spoken aloud. It said, I am becoming the person you deserve, even if you never know it. And my child, that transformation took time. They had to face their own shadows. They had to unlearn patterns of silence. They had to understand that love does not survive hidden forever. It must breathe, or it fades. That realization changed them. You may notice now that your thoughts are circling back to certain memories, certain names, certain feelings you once dismissed. This is not nostalgia. This is alignment. The universe is gently removing distractions so you can hear what was always meant for you. Pay attention to what returns when your mind is quiet. Pay attention to what feels calm, not chaotic. True soul connections do not bring confusion, they bring clarity, even when emotions run deep. My beloved child, the unsent letter begins to rewrite itself now, not with regret, but with readiness. The words that once trembled on paper are gaining strength in real life. Conversations that never happened are preparing to unfold. Truths that were postponed are seeking expression. But remember this, you are not obligated by destiny. You are invited by it. Love that is meant for you will never trap you. It will only ask if you are willing. Do not be afraid of the timing. Do not question why now. Everything ripens in its own season. The delay was not punishment, it was protection for both hearts involved. If you feel anticipation mixed with peace, that is your sign. If you feel nervous but not afraid, that is alignment. If you feel seen without explanation, that is recognition. My beloved child, the letter is no longer locked away. It is moving. It is becoming action, courage, presence. Whether it arrives as a message, a meeting, or a sudden realization, you will know. Not because it is dramatic, but because it feels right. The heart recognizes truth faster than logic ever can. And this is not the end. There is still one final unfolding, the moment when the letter no longer belongs to the past, but to the present. Where choice meets destiny. Where silence gives way to voice. Where two souls decide whether they will finally speak what was written long ago. My beloved child. Now we arrive at the moment the soul has been patiently waiting for. Not a dramatic moment shaped by noise or urgency, but a quiet, sacred unfolding where truth finally feels safe to breathe. The letter that once rested in darkness, folded by fear and time, has reached its final purpose, not to be read word by word, but to be lived. There comes a season, my beloved child, when the heart grows tired of pretending it does not know. A season when silence feels heavier than honesty. That is where your soulmate now stands. The years of holding back have taught them something powerful, that love delayed too long becomes regret, but love expressed with humility becomes freedom. They no longer wish to hide behind what-ifs. They no longer wish to protect themselves at the cost of truth. You may feel this shift before you see it. A sense of calm replacing restlessness. A clarity where confusion once lived. That is because souls communicate before words ever do. Long before a message arrives, before a meeting occurs, the energy changes. The universe grows quiet, as if holding its breath. That is where you are now. The letter, if it could speak aloud today, would sound different. It would no longer tremble. It would no longer apologize for existing. It would simply say, I am here. Not demanding anything. Not promising perfection. Just present. Just real. Just honest. And my beloved child, that is all true love has ever required. Do not imagine this moment as something that will rescue you. You do not need rescuing. You are already whole. This connection is not coming to fill a void, it is coming to share abundance. Two complete souls finally willing to stand without masks. That is why the waiting mattered. That is why the timing could not be forced. When the letter finally reaches you, through words spoken, through a look held a second too long, through a truth finally confessed, you will not feel overwhelmed. You will feel understood. There will be no chaos in your spirit. Only recognition. Like reading something you have already memorized in your heart. And listen closely, my beloved child, because this part matters deeply. You are not required to say yes just because destiny knocks. Love that is meant for you respects your choice. It bows to your free will. If you choose to open the door, it will walk beside you. If you choose to keep it closed, it will bless you and step back without resentment. That is how you will know it is real. But if you do open your heart, it will not feel like starting over. It will feel like continuing something that was paused, not broken. Conversations will flow with ease. Silence will feel comfortable, not awkward. You will feel seen without having to explain yourself. That is the echo of a letter written long ago finally finding its voice. My beloved child, the greatest lesson of this story is not about romance alone. It is about timing, courage, and self-respect. It is about learning that love does not arrive when we are desperate, but when we are ready. It is about understanding that delays do not deny destiny, they refine it. The letter was never lost. It was protected. So were you. As you move forward, carry this knowing gently. Do not search for signs obsessively. Do not rush outcomes. What is aligned does not need chasing. What is meant will arrive with peace, not pressure. Trust the calm. Trust the warmth. Trust the quiet certainty that settles in your chest. And remember this, my beloved child. The most powerful love stories are not the ones that happen quickly, but the ones that survive time, silence, and growth. This one did. Because it was written not just on paper, but on the soul. You are safe. You are chosen. And you are deeply loved, always. My beloved child. I continue gently, slowly, allowing each line to breathe, allowing your heart to rest inside every word. My beloved child. After the letter found its voice, something subtle happened within you. Not excitement that rushes. Not fear that shakes. But peace that settles. My beloved child. You realized you were no longer searching. You were no longer asking the universe to prove anything. You were simply present. My beloved child. That is how you know healing has taken place. When love is no longer begged for. When connection is no longer chased. My beloved child. Your soulmate feels this too. They sense the stillness. They sense the readiness. My beloved child. They no longer approach with anxiety. They no longer approach with expectations. They approach with honesty. My beloved child. This is what the letter always wanted. Not urgency. Not pressure. But truth. My beloved child. There were nights when you thought love had passed you by. But love was never late. It was careful. My beloved child. There were days you questioned your worth. But your worth was never in question. Only your awareness of it was growing. My beloved child. The silence you once feared has become your strength. The waiting you once resented has become your wisdom. My beloved child. You now recognize the difference between attachment and alignment. Between longing and knowing. My beloved child. This connection does not disturb your peace. It protects it. My beloved child. You are not pulled out of yourself. You are brought deeper into who you truly are. My beloved child. That is how soul love feels. Grounded. Steady. Safe. My beloved child. The letter never promised a perfect future. It promised presence. It promised sincerity. My beloved child. And that promise is being honored now. My beloved child. You may notice how conversations feel lighter. How laughter comes easier. How silence feels comfortable. My beloved child. You are no longer performing. You are simply being. My beloved child. This love does not ask you to shrink. It does not ask you to prove. It does not ask you to hurry. My beloved child. It meets you where you are. And walks at your pace. My beloved child. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to feel slowly. You are allowed to choose freely. My beloved child. Nothing is being taken from you. Everything is being offered. My beloved child. The universe does not rush sacred things. Neither should you. My beloved child. There is no fear in this connection. Only respect. My beloved child. No confusion. Only clarity. My beloved child. No games. Only truth. My beloved child. This is why it survived the years. Because it was built on sincerity, not impulse. My beloved child. You no longer wonder if you are enough. You know. My beloved child. And they no longer hide who they are. They stand honestly before you. My beloved child. This is what alignment looks like. Two souls choosing openness over protection. My beloved child. The letter has done its work. It carried love safely through time. My beloved child. Now life takes over. Not dramatically, but faithfully. My beloved child. Day by day. Moment by moment. My beloved child. Do not measure this love by intensity. Measure it by peace. My beloved child. Do not question its calmness. Calmness is not absence of passion. It is presence of trust. My beloved child. You are no longer waiting to be chosen. You are choosing. My beloved child. And that is power. My beloved child. Whatever unfolds next will unfold naturally. Without force. Without fear. My beloved child. Remember, love that is meant for you will never rush you. And will never confuse you. My beloved child. It will feel like coming home. After a long journey. My beloved child. And you will know, quietly, deeply, surely. The letter arrived exactly when it should have. My beloved child. Rest now. Trust now. Live now. My beloved child. You are held. You are guided. You are loved, beyond time, beyond words, always. My beloved child. As the quiet deepens around you, you begin to understand that this journey was never about chasing love, but about becoming still enough to recognize it. The heart that once felt restless now feels anchored, as if it has finally found the ground it was searching for. You are not rushing forward anymore, and you are not looking back with regret. You are standing exactly where you are meant to stand, breathing in a moment that feels gentle, honest, and true. My beloved child. There is a new softness in the way you see yourself now. You no longer measure your worth by who stays or who leaves. You no longer replay old conversations wondering what you could have done differently. Instead, you carry a quiet acceptance that everything unfolded the only way it could have, shaping you with intention rather than accident. This understanding did not come quickly, but it came completely. My beloved child. You begin to notice how peace has replaced urgency. Where there was once a need for reassurance, there is now trust. Where there was once fear of loss, there is now confidence in presence. This is not because the future is guaranteed, but because you have learned to stand firmly in the present without needing it to promise you anything. My beloved child. The love connected to that unsent letter feels different now. It no longer lives as longing or fantasy. It exists as respect, as clarity, as truth. It does not pull at you from a place of emptiness. It stands beside you, calm and patient, allowing you the space to choose freely without pressure or expectation. My beloved child. You realize that real connection does not arrive loudly. It does not demand attention or make dramatic entrances. It settles quietly, like sunlight filling a room, unnoticed at first, until suddenly everything is warm and clear. This is the kind of love that stays, not because it has to, but because it wants to. My beloved child. The past no longer feels heavy in your hands. Memories no longer sting when they surface. They rest gently now, like pages in a book you can open without fear. You understand that every chapter had a purpose, even the ones that felt painful, even the ones that ended without explanation. My beloved child. There is strength in the way you have learned to wait without bitterness. You did not harden your heart. You did not close yourself off. Instead, you learned discernment. You learned patience. You learned that not everything delayed is denied, and not everything immediate is meant to last. My beloved child. Your soulmate feels this transformation too. They recognize the change in themselves, the way they no longer hide behind silence. They understand now that courage is not the absence of fear, but the willingness to speak despite it. What was once locked inside has softened, ready to be expressed without force. My beloved child. This connection no longer asks either of you to be perfect. It asks only for honesty. It asks for presence. It asks for mutual respect. And because of that, it feels safe. There is no need to perform, impress, or prove anything. You are enough as you are, and so are they. My beloved child. You may notice how your intuition has grown clearer. You sense what aligns and what does not. You trust your inner voice more than outside noise. This clarity did not come from answers given to you, but from lessons lived through experience, reflection, and growth. My beloved child. The heart that once feared being alone now understands solitude as strength. You are not afraid of quiet moments. You are not unsettled by pauses. You know that silence can be sacred, and that true connection does not disappear when words stop. My beloved child. This is the maturity love requires. Not intensity that burns quickly, but steadiness that lasts. Not promises spoken too soon, but consistency shown over time. What unfolds now does so naturally, without force, because both souls are finally ready to meet without masks. My beloved child. You no longer confuse attachment with love. You no longer mistake anxiety for passion. You recognize that what is meant for you will not disturb your peace. It will protect it. It will honor your boundaries and value your voice. My beloved child. There is relief in no longer needing to be chosen. You have chosen yourself. And from that place of self-respect, every connection becomes clearer. You no longer shrink to fit into spaces that cannot hold you. My beloved child. The future does not feel overwhelming anymore. It feels open. It feels spacious. You are not rushing toward it, and you are not afraid of what it may bring. You trust yourself to navigate whatever comes with grace and wisdom. My beloved child. This love story, if it continues, will do so gently. It will grow through shared moments, honest conversations, and mutual care. It will not rely on grand gestures to survive. It will rely on presence. My beloved child. And if paths ever diverge again, you will not be broken. You will carry gratitude instead of regret. You will know that you experienced something real, something that honored who you are. My beloved child. That is the gift of this journey. Not certainty, but confidence. Not possession, but connection. Not fear, but trust. My beloved child. You have learned that timing is not punishment. It is preparation. It shapes hearts so they can meet without harm. It teaches souls to approach one another with gentleness instead of need. My beloved child. Everything you endured refined you. Everything you waited through strengthened you. Nothing was wasted. My beloved child. You stand now with open hands and a calm heart. Whatever chooses to rest there will do so freely. My beloved child. This is where love feels most true. Quiet. Honest. Unforced. My beloved child. Carry this knowing with you as you move forward. Let it guide your choices, soften your fears, and deepen your trust in yourself. My beloved child. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time. My beloved child. And whatever comes next will meet you in peace, not pressure. My beloved child. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of living it fully. My beloved child. Rest in this truth. Walk gently. Trust deeply. My beloved child. You are guided. You are protected. You are loved, now, always, and beyond time.